time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting outside watching it rain with Dan DeFaw at Spot Shooter Archery, and Mara Daugherty is here as well from Ohio. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Having a good time here at Bowfest. The rain put a little damper on things. No pun intended.
Yeah, and somebody said, you know, again, we bring the people up from Ohio like last year.
And it rains. What's up with that, Mara?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Buckeye thing. Maybe it's a Wildcat 4-H archery thing. I don't know. They were here last year, too.
No, that's true. Oh, see, she's trying to brush it off onto the 4-H now.
Yeah, she's throwing daggers out there. Yeah, pointing the finger to other people. Let's see how this is going.
Yeah, you can see where that's going. But you know what? We're glad to have you back up here.
Yeah. When Cody and I showed up, it didn't start till 10 technically. We were supposed to be here around 9, but we rolled in at like 9:30 this morning. It was a 4-hour drive. It was an early morning, but I mean, it was hopping. The place was.
It was.
It was like, you know, it looked like it had been open for hours. The sun was shining, and there were people everywhere, and bows going out the door left and right. So it was.
They were busy inside the store, that's for sure.
Definitely. I know Cody and I wandered in there around 11 o'clock. We couldn't even move, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good thing for Jim. You know, this is his 10th year running, and it's his biggest yet, so.
Yeah, definitely a bigger turnout than last year. I know we had rain, but last year was Cody and I's first time up here. And last year my parents came. They couldn't come this time. They wanted to, but long story, we're moving, and they've got a lot of packing going on because we're moving out of our house at the end of the month. So they couldn't make it up this year. But yeah, this year was definitely more crowded, even with the rain, than it was last year.
That's awesome.
Well, we had you guys up here, I want to say
June.
Third week of June, somewhere right around there, second, third week of June. And we took the fishing trip, and we talked about that on a couple shows. What you been up to since then?
Cody and I have fished a couple local tournaments in Ohio since then. We did make one trip up to Lake Erie a few weeks ago. We wanted to plan on smallmouthing all day that day, but by the time we got on the water pretty early, but they were already like 4-footers rolling in. So we largemouthed around East Harbor and ended up going out smallmouthing for like an hour and a half later in the day when the waves laid down. But other than that, we've been prepping for deer season. We've both been working a lot. I need to get out and get my stands hung. I've got a horse show coming up in 2 weeks, so that's fun. I'm getting ready for that. So we've been staying busy, as well as me. I'm packing my room up and everything for the move. I'm going to move in with my grandparents for 6 months while my parents build their house.
Sounds like what Dan and I have been up to. I mean, it's just one thing after another. It's been crazy.
No kidding.
But, you know, let's take a step back a little bit. You talked about going up Lake Erie. I saw some video of you sleeping on the boat under an umbrella. I didn't see any fishing going on.
How's that work?
Okay, all right. Well, we weren't in a tournament. I did do a lot of fishing that day. But it's a redhead thing, and I try to keep the sun off me as best as I can. I wear the Cabela's Guidewear long sleeve button-up shirts and the long Guidewear pants. And, I mean, I get burned easy even with 70 FPS sunscreen.
Yeah.
And Danny, I know you know what that's
we know
like.
that.
So I was tired. We'd been up late the night before driving up to the lake, and I was like, I'm just going to take a nap here. That was early in the morning. We really weren't catching fish around that time, so it wasn't a big deal.
Well, you know what? You mentioned some products there from Cabela's, the Guidewear that you were using to keep the sun off. Why did you choose that product? What's behind that?
The Guidewear stuff at Cabela's is awesome, and they only have it during the summertime, and you can get it online year-round, but that stuff has built-in sunblock UV protection, and initially when you get the Guidewear, at least the fishing gear, it's waterproof. If you get wet or rained on, the water just rolls off. Now eventually as you wash the clothes, that will disappear, and you'll have to reapply. We sell a product, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head at Cabela's, but we do sell a product where you can reapply that. So that's nice. If you get caught in the rain, if you don't have your rain gear with you, I mean, no, it's not waterproof, but it does shed the water off of you pretty well if you're up to date. So
is that what Cody was using when we were up there fishing?
That was actually, this is a sore subject, that was actually an Under Armour shirt that he had on. But that shirt also had the UV ray protection bedded in it too, but that's an Under Armour fishing shirt that he had on. That, talking about the white and blue and gray one, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that in the next segment. Danny and I'll give a take on that.
Yeah.
Because people have been asking us about that, and it's been a hot topic of late. So I think Cody needs to go get him some of the Cabela's. Was it, you said Guidewear? Okay.
Yeah, he needs some Guidewear.
All right, we need to get him on that and get him straightened out there. But talking about the clothing you were using, what's the price point on that?
It varies. I think the pants were around $50. They're a super, super light, breathable pant, and if they get wet, they dry within 5 minutes. I mean, they're awesome, and they're stretchy, so for, especially in a bass boat, sitting down, getting back up, sitting down, getting back up on changing spots, they don't, I used to wear jeans a lot when we'd fish, and, especially if jeans get wet, they'll, bind to you, and they're real uncomfortable to get up and down in, so they're probably one of the best fishing purchases I've ever made, other than gear.
Sweet.
Something I might have to take a look at next year.
Yeah,
That's
they
awesome.
got it at the Saginaw store. They got it right in the front there.
Okay, especially since it's something that blocks the UV rays and stuff like that, because I'm concerned about that from all the sunburns I got when I was a kid, skin cancer type stuff.
No kidding. I'm all about that. That's for sure. Being the redhead like you, Mara, we know that.
Okay, so you were protected from the sun, but you still fell asleep in the boat. So we'll give you a pass on that. But
they're so comfy you fall asleep.
There you
go.
There you go.
So comfy you can sleep in them.
Sleep in them. There you go. Let's jump ahead to upcoming deer season. You don't have stands hung yet, but have you seen anything yet that kind of piques your curiosity? You got anything that you can talk about, or are you just kind of getting into things right now?
I've had a couple game cameras up, 2 of which are very old, and I was kind of testing them to see if they'd be working this weekend, or this year, and they are not producing the pictures that I want, so I think I might toss them at the end of the season. But I do have one camera up, a Bushnell, that has taken fantastic pictures. And I checked it I let it go for about a month, and I checked it 2 weeks ago, and I had 5 different bucks on there. Not the big one that I had in July, but there are 5 new ones on there. Not nearly as big, but that's a good sign that there's a lot of young stuff running around, and so many does. I have does. I actually have an old doe with a scar on her side. I don't know if she'd been shot before or what, but she has triplet fawns this year. So she's definitely one that I'm going to have my eye on for doe management purposes, because she's an old deer, and the older they get, typically they'll have more and more babies, and so that's just population control. And like I said, she's kind of scarred up. She's kind of gross. So, yeah.
Sounds like a promising season coming up here, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we can tempt you to come up to Michigan a little bit, maybe, and help us with a little bit of population control up in our neck of the woods. So now, Cody's he's over there talking right now. He's doing his thing, but give us a lowdown on what he's been up to.
He's been fishing like crazy. His dad actually has one of his beagles bred, and she's due to have puppies this Thursday. And his parents are actually going to Baton Rouge, if I said that right, down to help with the flooding this week. So he's on puppy duty. When the puppies arrive, he's supposed to be there to help with labor and all that fun stuff. So, other than that, he's been fishing, and he just got official with his bait company. He actually has a name and an LLC now, and he's got his first 1,000 baits sold, so he's working on making orders, and he's selling them across the country via Facebook. And for having his first 1,000 sold within a week, I'd say he's doing pretty good.
Can we give the official name and make an announcement here on the show about that?
We sure can. The official name is Champion Baits. And he's running it. I think he's got him on a couple tackle pages on Facebook. I'm not sure yet. Once we get the logo official and ready, we'll have it up on the Up North Journal Facebook page, so you guys can check it out there. But the logo is not quite finalized yet, and we'll get some T-shirts made and all that fun stuff, and hats. But until then, look for it on some tackle sites, or message Cody or I, and we can hook you up with some baits if you're interested.
And go over to Facebook, over to Team Kickerfish, and you can check them out there as well.
That's right.
So. Well, it sounds like you guys been busy, been hitting it hard, and going to have hopefully a good, promising fall here for deer hunting.
Some good reports from Ohio.
Yeah. Is Cody, is he wrapping up his fishing this fall, or has he got some fall tournaments he's going to be doing?
He might be doing one more open tournament. I know we have one more circuit tournament, but I don't think we're fishing it. It's end of the year, and we're not in the points race anymore. And I've got a horse show that I'm planning on going to that day on September 10th. But I think he is going to do a fall open maybe on Alum Creek or so.
Okay, so you got a horse show coming up. Do you need a jockey for that little mini horse? I can send Danny down for you.
I think he fit on there pretty well. I mean, she's only 29 inches tall.
Oh, I might need a stool, too, right, to get up there?
Yeah, you'll be tall in the saddle.
Yeah, thanks. Again, thrown under the bus.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to step out. We're already outside. We're going to step under the tent here and try to stay dry. We'll wrap up this segment. But, the one thing Mara had mentioned, the Under Armour stuff, we're going to come back and give a little take on our feelings on this, and see if Danny and I agree on how we feel about this. So I've been thinking about it a lot here for the last week and a half, so we'll see where that goes. So we'll step outside, and we'll be right back after this.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet. I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome back, second segment of the show. We're sitting out here at Spot Shooters. It has quit raining.
It has, for now.
Before we let Mara go, we actually talked about the last segment. She brought up the Under Armour issue.
She did.
So,
well, actually, she has brought up the word Under Armour.
Yeah.
And
so
that's got to been in the news in the social media world,
right,
in the last week and a half.
So before we let her go back to Ohio, I think we ought to get her take on it. We talked about this in the break, and she's going to give her take, and then the next two segments after that, we'll give her our take.
Right, exactly.
And
so
I've got a customer I need to go take care of, so you guys take the show away.
All right, we will. Now go away. Walk away. See, this is the best part.
We'll be checking this before we put it out, so if you guys do anything bad, I'm going to be editing.
Go away.
Uh-huh.
Go away.
Yeah,
thank you. See, now it's our show.
Yeah, we can do anything we want.
Look at him run. Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen him move that fast.
I don't think so either. Wow. All right, Mara. So, unless the world's been under a rock in the last week and a half.
Right.
And you know what? This Under Armour thing has kind of blowed up. What is your take of what you know of it as of today?
Okay. Disclaimer here before I start talking about my personal opinion about the situation. I do know Josh and Sarah Bowmar personally. Josh is my boyfriend Cody's cousin. I was at their wedding. So this kind of hit home on a personal level to see something like this happen to somebody that I know, not just somebody out in the industry. So the whole thing, Josh...
So right there, this is actually... as opposed to Mike's take or my take that you're going to hear later in the show, this is a personal side of your take to it, which is,
right.
This is kind of going to be good.
Yeah, so for Josh they do crazy things. They've hunted with Eva Shockey, and Sarah was working on a women's line with Under Armour, and for Josh to legally take this bear in Canada, to have repercussions on Sarah... I just think
and all Sarah did was video it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, she wasn't even hunting. She didn't even... she didn't throw the spear. Whether you believe in spear hunting or not, it was still a legal hunt. Bottom line, there was nothing wrong with it. If it was illegal, yeah, I could see the outcry and why people were upset, but it wasn't. So for me, it's hard to see why people think that it's such a big deal. And so for Sarah not even to be involved in the killing, she was just there videoing and being there for support for her husband. And the fact that Under Armour just dropped her like it was nothing.
And you know what? This was done in June.
It was.
And it didn't come out till August.
Yeah, I mean, the video's been out for a while, but I guess the wrong people didn't see it back in June. I guess it kind of resurfaced. That's the only thing I can think of.
The only thing I can think of is how it worked was they did it in June, the video came out in August, and then, like you said, somebody caught wind of it.
Yes.
And then the protest started.
Right. And, I mean, the nasty things that, I mean, everybody, including me, I was reading online about this, is just incredible. But what was incredible also was the amount of support that people are giving them because of what Under Armour did. I mean, I know Under Armour Hunt is just a small portion of their income, but for them to not support hunting, if they're supposed to be a hunting apparel company, that just, I cannot
boggles your mind?
I cannot wrap my mind around that.
Instead of standing like what we've heard this week in other talks is companies that are standing with the hunters.
Right.
This company not only stood behind the hunter, they pushed the hunter off the cliff.
Exactly. And they have lost so much support. All those videos going viral of people burning their apparel and that kind of stuff, and people saying, "Oh, I'll never buy Under Armour Hunt ever again." And it's just, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I don't really have Under Armour hunting gear. I never really liked it. I thought it was always kind of pricey, but I won't be buying any in the future, if that tells you how I feel.
Exactly. And plus this, like we've talked about now, on a personal level, you've seen, she wasn't involved except videoing it.
Yeah.
And this has got to totally crush her.
Oh, yeah. She said that I remember she tweeted and she said, the Bowmar, I'm no longer affiliated with Under Armour. I will write a blog about it when I quit crying.
Right, exactly. She probably put her heart and soul.
She did.
Into
and she was designing women's Under Armour line. She and Eva and a bunch of other Under Armour girls were in charge of designing a women's line. And I mean, she spent thousands and thousands of her own dollars of her own money to buy the Under Armour gear. They didn't pay her anything for what she was doing for them.
See, and that's the thing. And she pours her heart and soul out of this.
Absolutely. And she's an
guilty
icon.
by association.
Right, because she was there.
And
she's married to Josh.
And what happens is it gets on Facebook. Some people start hitting Facebook, hitting Under Armour up.
Right.
You got to do something about this. You got to do something. And you know what? From what I can tell from what we've heard, from when it came out to when they dropped them, it was pretty quick. It wasn't. They didn't think about that decision.
Right, exactly. I mean, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was less or very close to 24 hours.
Right. Friday morning of that week is when they came out with the statement says we don't support this, blah, blah, blah. We've dropped her. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, man, really? I wonder, behind the scenes, we don't know if they know the whole story. Or was this just on social media, look what's happening, we got to do something about it?
I don't know. To me, the way it came off is they just assumed, since Under Armour Hunt is not our biggest seller, just straight Under Armour apparel is, I don't think they cared. They said, well, we can lose some customers in the hunt section because most of the people who don't hunt aren't buying the hunt clothes.
Exactly. In the big scheme of business, the brand name Under Armour, the hunting line probably is
minuscule.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
If you want to look at numbers.
Exactly. And what they deal with on other avenues of hunting is very minuscule. Yep. Okay, so we've got that take. I got a question for you. What's your take on the other Under Armour people that are supported by Under Armour? They're being quiet.
They are, and I think...
Or I shouldn't say they're being quiet because I know the juries came out with a statement.
They did, yeah.
But I haven't seen anything from the Lees and Tiffany's.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Right, so I was kind of... What's your take on that?
I don't know if if it's another money thing and they're scared if they say the wrong thing, they might get dropped as well, or I don't know. I mean, they have a lot of backing in the hunting world, but it seems like every hunter now, whether you're a bow hunter or rifle hunter or whatever, you're kind of under fire right now with everybody.
Right, exactly. And you know what? And I do understand that for those people that are sponsored by, they've got contractual things they have to abide by. So in that aspect, I can understand that because, they signed a contract. Just like you sign a contract in the professional sports or whatever you do, you have to abide by your contract. And it does you good to do that.
Right.
But, it's been interesting that the juries did come out and say something. And to me, it was a, however you want to say it, a business statement. You know?
It was, yeah. A lot of big-time hunters and big-time outdoor industry, film people have came out to kind of bash Under Armour and, why aren't you standing behind the people that are promoting your products?
Exactly. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
They kind of shoved Sarah under the bus, especially because she wasn't even the one who made the kill with the spear.
To me that's kind of the more important of the whole thing she's guilty by being behind the camera.
Yeah.
It's almost like they said, okay, you shot it with the camera, you shot it or you speared it yourself.
Right.
And it's
and I mean, Josh had some Under Armour gear on, but I mean, he was by no means affiliated with them. He was just morally wearing it for Sarah's support. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, I'm glad to get it's interesting how big this world is, but yet small.
Sure.
That you're actually.
I know, it's kind of
your boyfriend is related to him.
Kind of crazy.
You know, it is kind of crazy.
Because I met Josh and Sarah like probably close to 3 years ago. Before they were. I mean, they were in the industry. Don't get me wrong, but before they kind of went famous. I mean, they're not crazy famous by any means. Well, now they are after this whole incident.
Yeah,
but before
they
is what I was talking about. So I knew them, like I said. I mean, I still know them on that personal level, and I haven't seen them since then. So I'm kind of excited to talk to them in person about it.
I don't know if it's a good way to become famous or a bad way to become famous.
Well, if you got the right people backing you, I could see it. Like Tim Wells, he's a spear hunter, and he had this big whole spiel on it.
Oh, there's been a few. That's another thing that I've seen come out in the last week and a half or so, that a few people have come out doing live Facebook feeds.
Yes.
Giving their take on it.
Yes.
And a couple, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that talked about it, but he said it's changed. This whole industry has changed. It
has, yeah.
And unfortunately, so another question that, as we talked, just came up. Have you seen any, within the last week, I don't know how much you've been at work. Have you seen any repercussions at work of the label?
I don't know if this has any influence on the whole Under Armour, Josh, Sarah, Bowmar thing or not, but there was a huge clearance rack of Under Armour hoodies. Or not necessarily clearance, but a huge sale rack. Some of the stuff on there was clearance, and I was like, I mean...
Coincidence?
Have they noticed sales have dropped within the past 2 weeks, or is that just the coincidence that Under Armour regulated that sale? I don't know.
Do you think this is going to blow over?
It eventually will. All this stuff eventually will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your thought is that if you let...
I mean...
This started out, this has probably been 2 weeks, we're into this now.
Right. It is kind of blown over. I mean, look at Cecil the Lion. I mean, that pretty much blew over. I mean, yeah, of course there's still people that are mad, and that's a sore subject for a lot of people. But it blew over. You don't see the memes and stuff like you do on Facebook now that you did back when that happened. You know what I mean? So I think it'll kind of blow over, and people will kind of forget about it. But I think that Josh and Sarah will get more backing and will be more famous after this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's kind of been thinking about you as you were sitting there, and I wonder what at work was kind of happening. And it just, you hear, and it's just amazing how this world's working. But so
and
you're
frequent shoppers at Cabela. So a lot of people know, and Cody and I both work in Cabela's. A lot of people know, Josh and Sarah are related to Cody, and so they've all been asking me,
what's going on?
Like, have you talked to him, you know? And I personally have not. I know Cody sent Josh a text, like, back. It was like the first or second day. Things were really blowing up, just kind of supporting him, like, hey, man, sorry about what's going on. And Josh said, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it, and it'll all blow over.
I think he's right.
Yeah.
And so you're going to hear my take in the next segment. So.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, well.
Dan gone wild.
Nah, not really. I've kind of thought about it, and
yeah.
you sit there, like Mike said, you think about it on it a while, but you got to kind of step back and look at it.
And we covered a lot just talking in these few minutes here. We've covered
exactly.
A lot of it,
But to get your take on, on almost a personal level is
right. That is, yeah.
You know, without how being really close as you are to that situation, and kind of seeing the family side of behind it, what's going on in the family. So, but other than that, I think you got anything else you want to talk about on the Under Armour saga?
No,
you think you're good?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. It's starting to rain here again. So.
Yeah, it is starting to rain here at Bowfest, but so we'll do it. That'll do it for this segment, and stay tuned, and we'll be back in the next segment, and we'll be back from Spot Shooters.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Mara Daugherty here with Up North Journal, still at the 10th annual Bowfest at Spot Shooter Archery here in Holly, Michigan. I just kind of went off on my personal take of the Under Armour incident on a personal level. But sitting here in the rain with Danny, we are going to get his take on it. So what is your take on it?
Well, first of all, Mike's still gone, and he left us with the microphones.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So we're still in charge.
Yes, we are in charge. But anyways, okay. So what's my take on this whole Under Armour thing? All right. First thing I'd like to say is that thinking about this, and especially now that we're 2 weeks into this little saga that's going on about, and kind of a twofold thing. First of all, I am so glad to see a lot of the hunters, first of all, knowing that it was taken legally. It was done with behind all the rules that are stated in Alberta, how to do it. It was done that way.
And that investigation is over. That there was an article out on that the Canadian whatever they were doing, the research they were doing to make sure everything was legal, it has come out that it is sure in fact legal, and there are no charges going to be pressed.
Okay,
so that did come out.
With that being said, I am very impressed with the amount of support that I've seen from fellow hunters.
Absolutely. I can agree on that.
When something happens in, whether it be family, whether it be, in this case, the hunting family, I think it was wrong for Under Armour to go and drop, which in essence, the associate, the person that was actually running the camera only,
right,
to make a snap judgment to me that says, hey, we don't support you anymore, we're dropping you. That, to me, to my understanding, it was because of the pressure they were receiving through social media from probably anti-hunters.
Right, and there were online petitions.
Yeah, there was. They only had like 3,000 signatures in that petition. And all of a sudden they come out, they go ahead on a Friday morning, drop her and say, we're done with her. And not to... It seemed harsh. It seemed fast.
It did.
And it was like, really?
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, all right. So I at first he's like, all right, let's see what happens. And all of a sudden you see the support starting.
Mm-hmm.
People got online. You know, you saw the Under Armour logo with a red X through it, and the whole 9 yards starting.
Yep,
people started burning.
Yes. Yes. That stuff went viral.
I've seen other companies jump on board and says, hey, we don't stand behind the hunters. We stand with the hunters, which I think is really cool.
That is, yeah.
So on that standpoint, as a hunting group, I am very happy to see the support behind them against Under Armour.
Sure. And I mean, and Under Armour dropped them without the official investigations being completed.
Okay, that's exactly right. They go ahead instead of saying, "Hey, there's an investigation into it. Let's wait and see."
Because by Friday morning, they knew that Canada was investigating, and potentially, if there was illegal acts, done, they were going to press charges, and they were threatening Josh. And so, with none of that proven, how can you just up and leave? I don't get it.
Drop him like a rock.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly. So with that being said, I think, me personally, as a company, instead of being like that, they should have stepped back and said, you know what? There's an investigation. We're going to hold off on anything we say until the investigation is done.
Exactly. That's what they should have done.
I think you're right. So, but they didn't. So they didn't, and they end up dropping her. They dropped Sarah, unfortunately, who was just a camera person, and basically, to my heartfelt, she put her blood and guts and everything into this to get this to go with Under Armour, to get a sponsor, to do what she does, and they basically kick the feet out from underneath her and says, "We're out of here."
Yeah.
And to me, it just, something's not right there. So I'm again saying, as hunters, we got to stick together and make it to a point where it says, Under Armour, they really didn't care about the hunters.
They didn't. They just want money.
Yeah. There you go. that to me, that's where this is all leading to.
I mean.
So now, so that is on the hunter side of it. Hey, it was done totally legal. And she was just a camera person, so why are you actually picking on her?
Right.
That says you did wrong.
Right.
But no, she didn't. She just videotaped it.
Yeah.
But she paid the consequences for it. So, but
it's
anyways.
Like firing somebody from, like say a coworker of yours get fired because they were investigating. Like, what did you have to do with it?
Right.
Other than work in the same
You're guilty
department.
Exactly. You're guilty by association.
I cannot wrap my mind around why they even thought that it was okay.
Right. And you just sit there and so this all brewed over a weekend. I mean, it was like on fire. So me and Mike talked about it. We talked about it off air, and we talked about it on the phone.
Sure.
And now, taking a look at it from a business side of it, because I asked you in the last segment, what about all these other the ones that are sponsored by Under Armour?
Yes, and they've been fairly quiet about the whole thing. I mean, some have spoken, but
some have come out.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think? I know you kind of asked me the same thing.
I asked you the same question. I wanted to hear your answer because it's almost going to be sounding the same.
Okay.
Because
we're on the same page here.
Yeah, we're on the same page because we're in the industry, and anybody that's in an industry that has contracts and obligations, and you have to, as a person, if you sign a contract, you should uphold the contract and follow it and do what needs to be done. I'm sure that's the case of some of the situation here. Now, also, you're looking at where are you getting your money from.
Right.
Now, there might be some ramifications down the road.
There could be.
We don't know. This
is
totally, maybe there's some things behind the scenes that some of these groups are saying, you know what, at the end of our contract, maybe we're out of here.
It'll be interesting to see, if their stock drops or if sales go down.
Well, that's the whole...
in a year from now, where are they,
yeah.
Where are they going to be? You know what I mean?
I get a feeling you're going to see a dip in probably their hunting sales.
Right.
For this year.
Yeah. I don't think any of their athletic apparel, I think that'll still,
I think, tell you the truth, you're going to see a dip in hunting sales this year.
Yeah.
But as it goes through the months and whatnot, they'll either come back or they'll stay steady where they're at, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
That's my personal take on it. As a business, and anybody has an inkling that they're looking at the Under Armour name knows how big this company is.
Yeah, they're
so
huge.
The hunting line is minute.
Right. To everything else that they do.
So to lose it actually would, I don't think it would hurt their bottom line too much.
I don't think it would either.
And but what this has shown is there's been a couple of other people in the industry that have come out and kind of said, I'm okay with Under Armour because they might be a friend.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, but you got to understand what they did to one of our brothers in the hunting industry.
Seriously, yeah.
Right. So, and I've seen that, and it's one of those things. Personally, like you said, I think it's going to just end up, there's going to be, especially for this season, because it's going to be fresh in everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Let us go through next year and see what happens. If there's will it blow over? I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Like everything else, with time, things just
they kind of dissipate,
go.
Yeah. And I wonder if Under Armour Hunts is still going strong and for future sponsorships, I wonder if people will second guess whether they want to pick Under Armour.
That's a very good question.
Up as a sponsor or not, if they're thinking about anything that had to do with Sarah, they don't want to be dropped like that.
Right.
If something were to happen.
You're thinking about going into a contract with a company. And you're all of a sudden in the back of your mind, that could start playing head games, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, if I sign up, but if I'm just running a camera,
right,
or I take a picture of something,
do one thing that some
are they
people
going to
don't
drop
like.
me?
Yeah,
it
would definitely cross my mind if I was in that situation.
Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to know how this all plays out. Mm-hmm. But personally, I'm excited to see the hunting community get together.
Yep.
And say no. I kind of like the idea. If you are upset with Under Armour to the point, don't burn your clothes. Do us a favor, donate them.
Yes.
I like that idea a lot.
Yes.
Donate them, and then let's just get them to people in need, and don't burn them.
Yep.
And that'll help out a lot better. So,
it will. Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see your take. We know my take.
I wonder what Mike will have to say.
It is going to be interesting what Mike has to say, what he's going to say, and we all know where Mike can go. Mm-hmm. Who knows where?
Off on a tangent.
Yeah, it'll be a tangent of some sort. But, so that's my take on it.
Yep.
In a way. I'm excited to see that the hunting community, and this, it's kind of like the NRA and our Second Amendment. You got to stick with the people, and you got to back them, and you got to show them that. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, at the first sign of trouble, when you turn and tuck tail, so to speak, it kind of makes you wonder.
It does. It absolutely does.
So, I was just, it was one of those things that just, it shocked me after a while. So
it did, and it was just so surreal. I know I've already said my point of view, but it was surreal, really, seeing two people that I know on a personal level go viral crazy and all that hate. I mean, and backing that they were getting. It was just crazy to me.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Did you see any of the Facebook postings on the Under Armour Facebook?
I did, and there were also actual Facebook. Did you see any of the Facebook groups made about Josh? The ones that were like, shun the bear killer, murderer. Like, it was crazy. People were setting up like GoFundMe accounts to hire a cage fight.
Really?
A cage fighter to fight Josh. People were trying to make money for this. And raise money so they could pay somebody to beat Josh up over what he did.
What goes through people's minds?
I don't know.
Some of the comments I've seen on Facebook, and this is the wonders of social media, it's instantaneous, that the threats,
right?
The
little keyboard warriors.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, really?
I know. I mean, I seriously was cracking up when I just Googled or typed into the Facebook search Josh Bowmar, and the pages that were coming up. Do it. They're probably still up. I mean, there was PayPals and GoFundMes to hire a cage fighter to beat him up.
That amazes me. I don't know, but I'm
like, isn't there something? I mean, if you're against hunting and you don't like it, I'm like, why don't you
Exactly. So
pay for conservation or something with that stupid money you're
Right,
trying to
exactly.
raise. Like,
You
come
know,
on.
it's like
Use your head. You
There's-
want to hire a cage fighter, but you can be
There- I'm-
paying for national parks and all that kind of stuff.
or
like,
something totally better than that, right? I'm just
right.
like,
Go buy
oh,
like.
But like you said, the keyboard warriors were, I mean, they were hot and heavy
They
about,
were.
and it was like, really, people?
I know.
You really want to do that? Call people that names? Thought we were raised a little bit better.
Yeah,
but, you know.
I think the immaturity kind of showed through in a lot of people. And the biggest problem, I think, with the entire thing is people that are uneducated. They see something they don't like and they automatically assume. Because to persuade a lot of people that hunting is an ethical thing to do, whether you do it with a spear or bow or gun or what have you, is very hard. People that, persuasion, being a communication major, I've learned is one of the hardest speeches to give, because it is hard to get people to change their minds.
Right, and that's another thing that not knowing the whole story.
Yes,
They
were jumping to conclusions before investigations were complete.
Yes, they get the 5-minute blurb of
right,
and it's like, oh well, that's
and articles that were written that didn't even have quotes from Josh or anything like that. They didn't get Josh's side. And did you hear about that? Josh was actually at Sarah's little sister's birthday party when that first main viral article was being written, and they tried to get a hold of Josh, and he said, "I'll get back to you in a little bit for some quotes." I am at my wife's little sister's birthday party, and they didn't wait for him, and they went ahead and published it anyways. And then they went back in and edited it and put a few of his quotes at the bottom, where by that time, anti-hunters who are reading it, they've already got their minds made up, and it just made Josh just out to seem like a horrible person.
Exactly. That was that first story came out was totally, you could tell the way it was written.
Yeah.
And they took and ran with that.
They did.
And then they brought the quotes in, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, but they didn't get the whole story.
Exactly.
And it's almost like they didn't want to hear the rest of the story
They
anyways.
didn't. They
because
didn't.
it was just one of those
They
things.
didn't care. They just wanted to bash this guy.
They did, and they attacked him, and then they went right after Under Armour. Mm-hmm. And the part I don't get, and maybe this was some homework done by somebody, why go after Sarah? Why go after Sarah?
I don't know.
In Under Armour.
That still boggles me. I couldn't tell you on that one. If Josh was sponsored, okay, maybe,
right,
because the antis are bigger, income for him. I know we keep going back to big business and numbers, but Sarah, she didn't have anything to do with it.
Right, exactly. And they're like, but we're going to take her down anyways.
Right.
But yeah, it was just one of those things. And I tell you what, it's been interesting a couple of weeks that I think it'll be the typical. It'll be forgotten, like Cecil, like you said, like Cecil.
It'll
blow
over.
I just hope it's. I think it might be a help in our direction that says, hey, if we can stick together.
Sure.
Another thing that really gets me, another one of my opinions is, spear hunting.
Here we go, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Brace yourself.
Spear hunting is not for me.
Right.
I've never done it.
Right.
Never tried it.
Right.
Never practiced. So I'm not going to go out and do it.
Right. He was an experienced javelin thrower, so he's been throwing spears forever.
There you go.
So,
he practiced with his weapon. So as a hunter, I say, okay.
Right.
You did your homework. You did your practicing with it. Go ahead. It was a legal form.
Right.
I'm not going to knock him for that.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and go, I don't like it, blah, blah, blah.
Right. If it was illegal, it would have changed everything completely.
Right.
What they did. But it was perfectly legal. And that's where I and so many other guys and girls in the outdoor industry have a problem.
Exactly. And
that's the bottom line.
I just shake
legal.
my head, and it was like, it was a legal form.
Right. Whether you like it or not, it was legal.
Exactly. But there's been some hunters, Facebook warriors, as you call them.
Yep, keyboard
get out
warriors.
there, give us their 2 cents that he's unethical, blah, blah.
Right.
What did they do way back before they even had spears? They probably clubbed him to death.
Yeah, or beat him with a rock. Yeah.
So,
I mean, seriously.
If it was legal then,
right.
it's just, really?
Right.
Are you killing me over this?
Right.
So, but
I got
that's
you.
my take on it. So,
it's kind of fun to rant.
Oh, it is. I tell you, this is the best
like a
part.
different kind of podcast. I kind of like it.
Oh, we go off on these tangents.
Yeah,
it's fun.
oh, yeah.
was been in the making.
Sure.
And with you being
it's a
up
lot
from
different
Ohio,
than an interview.
Oh, it is.
Sure.
It's just let your mind go.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But with that, I think we'll go ahead. We'll end this segment of the podcast and stay tuned for our last segment from Mike when we get his opinion.
Absolutely.
The 2015 Dream Season Decree is a deadly combination of speed and precision. It's built for the moments when time stands still. When the only thing that will break the silence is an arrow slicing a clean path to the kill zone. The bow of your dreams is a nightmare for big game. This is PSE's Decree. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
All right, back for the last segment of the show. Still outside. It has stopped raining so far.
Yes, it has, and I'm back. You took over the show.
Mara and I took over 2 segments of the show.
Did you leave me any time to talk?
A little bit.
Okay.
And you know what? She said she liked ranting.
She liked ranting?
Yeah, it was good.
It must be a redhead thing.
It is. It's
do
nice.
here.
It's not like a typical interview. But this last segment, we're going to turn it over to the famous Godfather for his take on the Under Armour saga. But I'm going to step out and let Mara take over my last spot, and you guys can have it.
Where are you going?
Hey, you left.
I was busy working. I'm in here selling bows.
I'm leaving too.
Actually, I got a customer on a bow over here.
All right, good. But before I leave, a few things. I want to thank Cabela's.
Absolutely.
Cabela's provided us with the archery game
safe
for the day.
The safe archery game.
And I think the kids have liked it.
And the older kids as well.
Yeah, the older kids, yeah. And okay, I'm going to say it right here. All right, Mara beat me again. She is still the reigning champion.
Good.
I want to thank Cabela's for giving us the tables, the table covers. Shout out to the 4-H Wildcats. They
provided some good food today.
Provided some good food. Jerry Lambert
absolutely
had his books out here.
Yep.
Water and books were kind of not mixing well.
Yeah, he had to take off a little early.
Yeah, he took off. Mark Hammer.
Yeah.
Is that not a beautiful buck or what?
Always is. I still marvel at it every time I see it.
Absolutely. So
and don't forget his antler action.
And antler action.
Which we're going to be running in the field this year.
We are, so stay tuned for that. But with that, I'm going to...
Jason Meekoff from Backcountry.
Well, yeah, we're sitting at his table.
Yeah, you can't forget Jason, man. Come on.
She's hitting me.
I'll hit you too.
Oh, great. But yeah, thanks to all those for being under the Up North Journal tent.
Yeah.
Good we had a tent.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a good thing today because everybody came over here when it started raining. As everybody else is crowding under their little 10x10s, we had, what is this, 20 by 40?
This is 20 by 30.
20 by 30. Nice size tent, very comfortable, spacious, and dry.
And dry. So with that, I'm going to give my mic to Mara, and you guys can end the show.
All right. Get out of here.
I'm out of here.
Make like a tree and leave.
All right, Mike, now we can actually start the show now that I'm here.
Okay, yeah, all right. Back to the first segment of the show. All right, I want to know what he said about me, first of all.
Hey, you might not want to know.
Every time I leave, he is always saying bad things about me.
Sure. So. Okay, so Danny and I have talked about our point of views of this whole Under Armour, Josh and Sarah Bowmar incident.
Uh-huh.
What's your take on it? What was your gut reaction when you saw this stuff going viral?
When I seen what? Okay, explain what you mean by seeing stuff going viral. What part are we talking about?
Initially, that first article that came out about Josh Bowmar, man brutally spears bear.
It was yellow journalism. It was I call it chicken manure.
Yep.
That's putting it.
Yep. Putting it
politely.
nicely. Yep.
Journalism, anti-hunter
Sure.
journalism. It was a direct attack on a legal, ethical, clean kill. I have no problem with the video. I thought it was pretty cool, actually.
Sure.
Now, getting into the video portion, I mean, because that's kind of where my heart and soul is. Before we even get into the rest of the discussion, I've done a lot of thinking this week and last week, and talked to a couple people. And actually, there was a very well-known person in the hunting industry that came out this week, and we have the video posted on our site. He was actually bad-mouthing people, saying we need to watch out with our GoPros of what we're shooting and releasing. We have a responsibility to not put certain things out there. And I want to put a disclaimer on myself real quick here. I do have hunting video of kills that I have not released because I have personally thought they were too graphic.
Sure.
That was my own take on what on my own video. Okay. I didn't think it added anything to what we were trying to do. But for me to sit there and tell somebody else you shouldn't show something because it may be too, I have no place in saying that. That's censorship. And we shouldn't be telling people.
We shouldn't.
Those things. I thought the guy who said that, and go over and look. I mean, I'm not going to start calling people out on the show, but go over and look on our Facebook page. You can see exactly who it was. I just don't think there's any place for that. If you got a clean, ethical kill, and if it's a little gory, then go and you want to show it, show it.
Right.
I chose to hold ours back because I thought it was a little over the top, and that was my own personal choice just for what I do.
Right. And a lot of Danny and I kept referring to, bottom line, whether you support it or not, hunting in general or just spear hunting, it was legal.
Yeah. I know people, a guy that lives within less than 10 miles from my house has speared 5 or 6 bears.
Sure.
Clean, legal, ethical kills. He doesn't go around bragging about it or anything like that. But,
right.
But he's done it. He's able to do it, and I have no problem with it. There's types of hunting out there that I might not participate in for my own reasons, but as long as it's a legal way of hunting and it's ethical, I have no problem with it.
I mean, and Josh practiced with that spear. I mean, he practiced for years. He used to be a javelin thrower.
Yeah.
So he wasn't, new to this. It
wasn't like me picking up a spear and going out and going, hey, I want to try this.
Right. And so, in my eyes, he respected that bear enough so that he practiced and practiced and practiced so that he could make an ethical kill.
Yep. And, I think let's take this a step further, is we're now, our team sponsorships and things of that nature are dependent upon who you're running camera for. I mean, because the whole issue really boils down to the fact this company dropped Sarah because she was running camera. Had she not been a part of that hunt, it would have been a moot point, and we wouldn't have been in this situation.
Right. They wouldn't have batted an eye on it.
But you're going to, and I've heard from 2 different people in the same day or same week. I think it's the same day. There's a lot more behind this story than meets the eye, in that they were excited about getting the video.
They were,
and I'm just going to leave it there. We've seen a lot of things written, but the fact is, if you're going to take something and say, yeah, go get them, that's cool, and then turn around in the public eye and say, we're going to let you go because we think that's over the top. That's chicken manure.
It's kind of a stab in the back.
It is. We interviewed David Strandberg last week from Numa Outdoors, and he said it best. He said, not only they're not going to stand behind hunters, they're going to stand beside them.
Right.
You stand behind somebody. Yeah, we all know what that means, but they're going to stand right there beside you and take whatever flack's coming our way, right there with you. Not stand behind them and let the hunters
and
take
watch.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that's what we need to do as hunters: stick together and stand beside each other.
And there's controversy even between hunters. Whether you hunt with a rifle, or a bow, or a crossbow, or a recurve, or a longbow. Whatever, we're all on the same team. And I know there's been memes and stuff like that made on Facebook that we've shared on the Up North Journal page, but it's true. Hunting is hunting.
It is, and whether it's hunting, fishing, trapping, whatever it is in the outdoors, whether you're taking the life of an animal in whatever way, shape, or form, we're right there with you guys. We stand behind you, and that's just where we're at. You know,
Right.
I got into it with somebody a little bit on Facebook about they wanted Cabela's to answer for this and get Under Armour out of their store, and I'm like, you know, you're taking it a step too far here. When you start going after retailers because of a product line, you know, this will shake out.
It will.
The hunters will either buy it or they won't, and,
Right.
if they don't, it won't be in the store next year.
Exactly. And Dan and I talked a lot about that, you know, whether their numbers are going to drop. But
Yeah.
Compared to Under Armour as a whole, Dan and I have said this, but Under Armour hunt is minuscule.
It is.
Compared to
It
what
is.
they do.
All they did is dip their toe in the water.
Seriously, yeah. So it's not, that's why they took a chance. You know, they'd rather make the masses happy
Yep.
than those hunters.
You know, and from their standpoint, I don't like it, but I understand why
Right.
they did what they
From
did.
a business point of view,
Yeah.
yes.
But you know
that is
what?
understandable.
We as hunters and outdoorsmen and women need to be looking at companies that have their core base product or value within the hunting industry. We don't need to be looking at companies that come in from the outside looking in saying, hey, we're going to get part of that pie.
You know, we can make a buck out of, you know,
Yep.
doing this.
Yep,
yeah.
by riding their back.
That's
so.
exactly right.
But,
Yeah, the mom and pop companies that start in the industry and
Mhm.
stay in the industry is what
Yeah.
we need to be supporting.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, support your retailers. You know, if it's like I told this guy, you know, did you quit shopping at Cabela's when the mutt boot fiasco came up?
Right.
You know, and he kind of went, huh? I go, okay, see?
Yeah,
right there.
he didn't even know.
Didn't
Yeah.
even know about
Mhm.
that. So to sit there and start going after retailers, I mean, where you going to draw the line at? I mean, we're not going to shop at any of the department stores that sell this gear as well.
Sure.
You know, any of the other big box hunting retailers, you're going to have to go back and start making your own clothing. You know.
Seriously, yeah.
If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it.
Right.
You know, and that's where we drew the line. You know, for us here at Up North Journal, we're not gonna buy it. We're going to stand with the hunters and you know, and support Sarah for the fact that she got I think she got stabbed in the back.
She did.
So
She absolutely did.
So I didn't hear what you guys had to say too much about it. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
you were off
I was
making
working.
a bow sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when you listen. I think you'll agree with a lot of the stuff we said.
You know, my biggest take is we got to stand by each other.
Mhm.
Quit stabbing each other in the back. Stand up for each other when we're out there. And if you got something you want to put out there on Facebook, as long as it's clean and ethical, put it out there.
Sure.
You know, and if you don't want to, you know, then don't. It's not that big a deal. But let's rally the troops, circle the wagons, and
Absolutely.
Let's keep things at home where it needs to be, and take care of our own. You know.
Yep. And any hunting or fishing or trapping, like you said, anything, if it's legal,
Yep.
let it happen. Your personal opinions, yeah,
Mhm.
you might not like it, but it's if laws are not being broken
Mhm.
and animals are not being, you know, neglected and
Yep.
you know, then I don't understand why people have such a big problem.
Well, the antis are coming, and it's like, how do you eat an elephant? You do it one bite at a time. You start with something that's controversial, and before you know it, they're onto us for you know, shooting deer. You know,
Sure.
And at that point, you know, if it gets to that point, it's all over. So, you know, they've already outlawed a lot of bear hunting over New Jersey. I'm
Yep.
not sure, but I think Connecticut. I know they're having bear problems right now. I was talking on Facebook with somebody about that. They're after trapping. Certain bear species they're after. They don't want, you know, bringing polar bear back in from up in the Arctic Circle.
Mhm.
So, and we all know what happened with poor Cecil.
Yeah, Danny and I
You know?
talked about that a little bit, about whether you I mean, we think the whole thing's going to blow over, and
Yeah.
he asked me that, and I said, absolutely. I mean, Cecil did. Yeah, there's people still out there that
Yeah.
are mad, but
Right.
you don't see the crazy stuff on Facebook like we did
Yeah.
back when that happened. So I think it will, you know, the embers will settle.
The thing that really amazes me, and I do have to give credit where credit is due, is that the antis, they react quickly and they react loudly and with a vengeance, and they get their point across.
They do. I will give them that.
You know, if the hunting industry rallied around each other, and not just the industry, but the hunters themselves and the outdoors men and women, if we reacted the same way, with the same voice and vigor that they do, then I tell you what, there'd be no stopping us.
There absolutely wouldn't
Yeah,
be.
so.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, well, that's pretty much my take on it.
Yeah, I think
I don't know
we've-
if I added a whole lot from what you guys.
You
were
did.
talking
You
about.
added a lot about the video standpoint, which we didn't talk about. We were talking more, you know, about the act that Under Armour did and why we thought it was bogus. But
Right.
So yeah, you did add a lot of new stuff. I know Danny and I agreed on everything, and and talked about a lot of the same thing. But.
And one last thing is, I see there's a lot of people out there, and even I kind of jumped in on it a little bit. People are going to burn their Under Armour, and they're making videos now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Don't burn it. Send it down to Louisiana, where those folks down there are hurting right now. They need clothing, and as bad as I hate to say it, I mean, the stuff's already bought and paid for, so send it somewhere where it can be used and put to good use.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that'll do it for us this week, folks, and we'll be back again next week.
This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.